it's another, probably now becoming a normal week in the Premiership. Comings and goings, it's the season. Chopping and changing here, there and everywhere. We'll get onto that. But first of all, we'll start off at Stamford Bridge. And if anyone hasn't seen it yet, I would implore them to go and watch Shane's pre-match prediction from last week, because it hasn't aged well. And I'll be honest, I've not seen such overconfidence or bordering on smugness probably since the Mourinho, Damien Duff era. So Vydra and Burnley, an unlikely point, mate. Talk us through it.
Yeah, look, like I said on the reaction video, disappointing. I wasn't angry or upset, because ultimately these teams, they are going to nip points from certain places. We dominated the game for, like I said, 85 to 87 minutes. There was literally a 3 to 5 minute window. I was sitting there watching it with my dad, and I was saying to him, Jesus, I have a feeling these might score. They might have some chance and fucking score. Literally, not even a minute later, I was like, oh, fuck, there you go. But listen, it was a good ball over the top. They caught us as we were pushing out from the back, trying to clear the lines. And sometimes you get that little bit of luck. Rodriguez was onside. Good play to notice Vydra there and knock it down. Most others probably would have went for a goal themselves. But look, it is what it is. It's another point. Could have been 3, should have been 3. It should have been wrapped up fucking long before that. Like Barkley, although he had a great game, he was guilty of not picking the right pass at the final moment and put 1 or 2 over the bar himself. One in particular, I was shouting at the telly myself. And I don't know if you've seen it, Ben Chilwell after was like nearly having a fucking tantrum. He was like, but these things happen. I won't be so smug and overconfident again, that's for sure. Thought it was another 3 points in the bag. Yeah, but yeah, listen, you know what? It was good football. They played really well, dominated the game. The passing and the movement was good. The wing backs again were exceptional. But look, just unlucky not to come away with the win, I think.
Shame. But you did touch on it there, though. One of the pluses, not that either of you two would care, but maybe for England, Ross Barkley did look at times back to his best. He's been a bit of a forgotten man lately for club and country. He looked good. And as well, probably, I mean, there's probably more positives to take out of the game than not, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I said it a few weeks ago that Tuchel seems to have brought Barkley and Loftus-Cheek back in. I don't know whether he necessarily wanted to at the beginning of the season. I think maybe it was a case of loan moves failed to materialise and stuff like that. But both of them seem to have, when they got the chance, taken it with 2 hands. Like, both of them look really good. Loftus-Cheek has for weeks, and you've started to see the old Barkley kind of come back. He's taking the ball, he's driving, quick change of direction, something he was always good at. But whether or not there is a place in the team for both of them once Kovacic is back, I don't really know. Mount will be back to full fitness now soon as well. But they are great squad players to have. And as you said, it can only be a bonus for England, the two of them looking good again, because I think where a lot of the big clubs have that depth in midfield, so these players don't necessarily get a chance. I don't think England have so much depth as a nation in the middle of the park there for players like that. You've got obviously Calvin Phillips and Henderson and Declan Rice, but outside of them 3, there's, I don't know, not that I can think of immediately, there doesn't seem to be many kind of standing out. So good from that perspective, I suppose, coming into the international break. But yeah, more positives than negatives.
So no alarm bells ringing at the minute for you.
No, it's one of these freak results, in my opinion. It happens. I won't get used to losing or throwing away points yet. Not like Manchester. So.
I was waiting for it.
I'm here in London, isn't that right, Mitch?
It does bring me smoothly onto my next point. You wasn't really helped dropping points, and title rival City picked up 3 points against United. And
what is he doing?
That's something else that hasn't aged well, is it?
Did you see him turning on him recently?
Yeah, that's why I picked it out.
Show,
yeah.
I tell you what, the media budget for this show, we must have been taken over by Arab Sheikh or something, I think. Because you got the blue screen out and everything. So, but no, United City. I mean, it seems like every week we come on here with a bit of a post-mortem. Let's be honest, it was men against boys, really, wasn't it?
Do you know, that's exactly what it feels like, a fucking post-mortem every week. It's I didn't even come onto this like kind of planned in my head. I've just tried to not think about this game for days. It's shocking. I don't even, honestly, I'm actually struggling for words. It's gone beyond the point of like, like when Chelsea drop points, like Shane can say, like, oh, I wasn't angry or sad. You're a bit disappointed because you drop points in a game you should win. But it's an odd one. It's here or there. There was just nothing there. Like, there was no fight. There was no passion. Like, the only players I can see were the likes of Ronaldo and Bruno. And even they weren't really at the races that day either. But no one was getting the ball to them to be able to create or score. Obviously, Ronaldo had one volley. We had more shots on our own goal as we did in the other goal. The Liverpool one, I remember sitting there and watching, and I was angry at what I saw. Like, it was so bad. And 5-0. Liverpool using Old Trafford as a training pitch, and then Man City coming and doing the same thing. But it was different this time. I wasn't even angry. I was just like, I had nothing left to kind of give.
You're Brazilian, Craig, aren't you?
I was just so run down after. I was just like, I can't believe what's happening and what I'm seeing. Like, every single fucking episode I say, Maguire's not a leader. And that has to be, we have to fucking change it. Like, he is not, to me it looks like the players don't respect him, because at half time when we were down, you could see on one of the streams, so I was watching anyway, he actually ran over to pull Eric Bailly and a couple of others, telling them to get in, and they all just kind of brushed them off like that. And that's the kind of attitude that these players have. Like, they're like little brats out there. Men against boys is even a compliment for what I saw. It was embarrassing. The whole team and club need to be gutted. That's the facts.
I think I saw this weekend probably Roy Keane sum up best when he said, Ollie's sitting on the bus looking around at the players and thinking, these are the lads who my job depends on.
Yeah.
I mean, the calls for him to be gone are growing louder and louder as time goes on. It is the season for managerial sackings.
Not for United.
Not for...
True. What was it? A quarter of the managers have been sacked, and Ole is still sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, Norwich got their first win the weekend, and then less than 12 hours later, sacked their manager. Wait, what does it take for Solskjaer to be sacked? It's mad.
I mean, there is some things I just want to go through. It's not. It doesn't seem like there is a problem this season. United are defending poorly. But a little stat for you. United last season had the highest in points won from losing positions in the league. They won 31 points from losing positions. So it already show you they're sort of bailing out the back four as it goes. Maybe not just the back four, but defensively, the strikers are bailing them out since long before this season. Now, that's been almost 2 years that they've yet to address that. They've signed new players, but same old problems. Is it now then time for a change? Is he just not the right man for the job in your eyes?
It's the whole lot. He's not the right man. He's got us to a point. He did well in the first 2 years. I think we had okay results where we came in the table. Obviously disappointed not winning any trophies, getting to like semis or finals. But I think he did well. United spent money on that defence. We brought in Wan-Bissaka, we brought in Maguire, Varane, You know, they spent money on Fred. Like,
Yeah, spent a lot of money. Yeah, 80
God,
million.
do you know what? I'm glad you actually have it up. Yeah, 80 million for that stock in a shite.
Although, listen. I do want to make a point though. You know, I do think he's got an elite mentality. From the point being, he will never be outdone. So here's Eric Dyer playing Cavani 2 weeks ago, and Harry Maguire took that personally because against Atlanta, then he was like, "Nah, fuck that."
And look at him.
I can do it better.
He's looking in the direction of the player. Like in that game, yeah. The second that happened, the first thing he thinks isn't go get the ball or try to get a tackle in. It's just put your arm up offside straight away every time.
Well, in fairness, he knew he wasn't catching him anyway. He's slow as dog shite.
Fucking cinder blocks for feet he has. Like,
listen, Shane, don't come on here telling us you've been doing financial accounts all day and you've been pulling them out. Right?
I've actually saved. I've been waiting since the weekend for this.
I knew you fucking would be.
As soon as that finished 2-0.
You wait until Chelsea get in a bad run of form. I'm coming for you.
Listen, I'll let you have one or two.
Right.
I'll be doing this for the next 27 weeks.
More than likely. But you did say something there though about the whole lot of them needs to go top to bottom. Now there is rumours that Edward would, although he's offered his resignation after the Super League fiasco in April, that he's going to stay on as a consultant it's a more complicated role, but he's still going to be involved in the club. But I mean, he said that, and this is a quote from him in April, he was glad to see a regeneration of club culture. But has he actually changed the club culture? Because United are the number one off the pitch. Commercially, fantastic. They spent over £1 billion since he's been there. So he's great in that aspect. And listen, they always back their managers. But is the culture now shifted to the boardroom and away from the football pitch? Because, I mean, this, at the minute, that isn't the United we've obviously all grown up watching.
Look, I think we were so successful for so long, it's hard to stay at that pace. You know, football goes in cycles like everything else. And that was our time, and now it's other people's time. And we'll come back at some stage. But, you know, since he's been in charge and since this takeover, it's been awful. You know, like, they failed every year. You say they spend money, but they're obviously not spending it wisely. They're overpaying for average players. You look at Ajax and Leicester and all, they can identify good players, get them in early before they cost 80, 90, 100 million. Like, he that chap's a little weasel, that Woodward fella. You know, like, he came out when all that Super League shite was going on, just to kind of, like, I think get his own neck off the chopping block a little bit, because there was a lot of pressure. And now all of a sudden he's coming back in and he's going to still be involved and stuff like that. We need to get rid of him. But as long as our owners are who they are, this will continue. I don't see it changing at all. I think we've just been run so poorly, and there is no ambition. You know, they're spending money, but they're taking tons of money out as well. And, you know, United were in the fucking headlines for, like, poor facilities, like the stadium, the roof falling apart, the training pitch was average. Like, they're running us into the ground. It's tough. It's tough to watch.
I think they see obviously a massive business opportunity, how successful United were for so long, how big a brand they were globally, and, you know, obviously when they seen the price, they thought, if we can get in on that, we'll make massive returns. And you know what, they've looked at it, we've said it numerous times over the last few weeks, football clubs are a business now, but they have looked at it purely as a business and have no love or want to better that club. I think, you know, you look at some of the owners who genuinely care about the club, and, you know, they won't necessarily, obviously they all want to line their own pocket to a certain extent, but they won't squeeze the club for everything they can. They'll look at how they can reinvest the funds, and, you know, like you said, they've spent money, but on average players. So they're willing to spend money, but you've touched on it. They've the wrong recruitment process, everything. It seems to be a clique of friends there more so than anything else. Like, you know, you look after this, I look after this, instead of getting the right people in to do the job. But
you look at the managers as well. Like Woodward brought in Moyes, brought in Van Gaal, brought in Mourinho, brought in Ollie. None of them are working.
To be fair, though, like when you think about it, like he brought in Moyes, like everybody knew Moyes was going to be the natural successor to Ferguson at the time. You know, he had such a good record at Everton. He was there for so long. Ferguson touted him himself. You know, when that didn't work, they looked at it and thought, right, we need to boost the club, boost the morale. So let's get a big name in. Who was a big name available? Van Gaal. Okay, they didn't necessarily look at them from a tactical point of view or a man management point of view and go, they're a right fit for the club. They just thought, big lights, Van Gaal, big name, let's bring them in. Didn't work. They done the same thing with Mourinho then. But at that stage, I think the cracks were already there with Mourinho. You know, you could see, was he becoming a little bit too arrogant? You know, that second season, third season syndrome, that kind of thing, you know. But I think, like we've said, they weren't looking at it from a footballing perspective, but more so from a, how do we improve our brand, essentially, with these big managers and stuff. I think Solskjaer is a last resort, to be honest with you. I don't think they had anyone else to bring in, really. They could have went for so many people, but
yeah, it's almost like they're reactionary every time. You know, even with the signings of certain players, like you look at, you know, Falcao and all, like even Ronaldo this time, it was like, oh, this is an opportunity, as you say, for the brand. You know, and yeah, Falcao was a great player, but he wasn't really top, you know, right at his peak when we brought him in.
No, he had that injury 18 months before and there was no coming back from it. Like, you could see it even at Monaco for the 12 months before you signed him. Like he wasn't the same player.
When we're kind of struggling, they kind of look for, like, all right, what's the quick fix? They did the same with Michael Owen. They've done the same with Cavani. You know, now Cavani's worked out, but the majority of them, they don't really work out. And then whoever it is that's identifying this talent for the long term, and paying 55 million for Fred and fucking 30, 40 million for Wan-Bissaka and 80 million for Maguire. Like, I just don't know. Honestly, it's the club.
Did you see that quote from Paulo Fonseca? Did you? He was the Shakhtar manager when United signed Fred. And he had it in, I don't know, it was in a book or something. And basically, the quote from it was something along the lines of, you know, we knew United were in for Fred. You know, we were expecting an offer of 20 or 30 million to come in, and when 50, 55 million came in, the chairman or the owner looked at me, showed me, and we started laughing. We opened the bottle of champagne and we sent it back. And then he came out and said, Fred wasn't even the best player in our team. Yeah. And United were willing to pay 55 million for him. But that shows you, like you said, the recruitment system, everything. There was no research done into it. Like, 55. You think they would have tested the waters, wouldn't you?
Who's making the decisions, though? Van Gaal said that he wasn't getting the players he wanted. Mourinho said the same thing. And Ollie is a bit of a yes man, so he's not going to throw them under the bus because he's so happy to be the Man United manager. But you'd have to imagine that he didn't have a say in bringing in some of these players as well. Like, so this is where Woodward and, you know, all of those board members and all, they're the ones that are responsible for years and years of failure at United and underachieving. But where, you know, you say the same thing, Mitch, all the time about Levy and Spurs. Like, when does it ever come back on them?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I look forward to having this conversation in 2 weeks' time. We could probably just skip the first 20 minutes and just put this on again.
Yeah. You know, who do we have? Watford or something? We might just get a draw there.
Into the title race, the other informed contenders, not Liverpool, but West Ham. They've emerged as, you know, unlikely contenders. Their performance against Liverpool, probably a typical David Moyes West Ham performance. They're potent on the counter-attack, physical set pieces. Start off with West Ham. Shane, just how good of a job has Moyes done? It goes under the radar. I feel like he's getting the plaudits now, but he hasn't just had one good season. He has had a few.
Yeah, look, I watched the game the other day, and they were exceptional. To be honest with you, they're such a well drilled unit. You know, perhaps it's the kind of manager you should look at bringing in or something. You know. No, all jokes aside, all jokes aside. Look, they were brilliant. They were really, really good, and whatever about not, as Craig said, not having the backing of the board at United. Like Moyes has identified these players that fit his system, the type of player he's looking for: aggressive, strong in the tackle, strong in the air. Like West Ham for years have had kind of a bogey defence, kind of a leaky defence. But if you look at it now, like the centre backs he has there, Zuma, Ogbonna, even Dawson, they're big physical men. Like they're not slow, good in the air. He seems to have played Cresswell as a left-sided centre back, and that seems to be working really well because he's good at pinging the ball. So if he gets a bit of space on that left-hand side, he can pick out the wing back, or he can make that diagonal switch. I think they're really good. I think Declan Rice had a great game again. Every week he is just growing, like in stature. Like he's so good the other day. But you know what? Like Liverpool were their own downfall in that game. I've said it for the last few weeks now. That defensive line is so fucking high. Like it's way too high. Like it's as bad as Sadio Mane's hairline. Like up there. Like there was a stage where Liverpool were 2-1 down, and what was there? Half an hour to go, and I was looking at it and I was thinking, Matip is in the West Ham half. Van Dijk is in the centre circle. And you've got Antonio, Benrahma, these quick players. And every time the Liverpool midfield were 10 yards further up than they should have been, every time that ball was put in between the lines, West Ham looked like they were going to score in the counter-attack. It probably could have been 3, 4, 5-1 before Liverpool even got the second.
Mitch, did you hear what Power said in his prediction?
What is that? I can't remember.
Antonio said he's the strongest player in the league. He's going to have to back it up now against Van Dijk.
Another one that hasn't aged very well, eh?
We're going to have to be careful with these predictions, aren't we?
Everyone's going out on a limb.
We've got to make a show of ourselves. These lads talking football and they know football. No, but look, West Ham were good. They were great value for the win. Like, they fully deserved it, and I've never been happier to see Agent Zuma getting in on the back post there. So good at that. But no, fair balls to them. They've done really well. Like, yeah, I just think they've been incredible. And it just goes to show you where West Ham are in the table. I've put up the top teams. I even threw Fulham in here as well for you, Mitch. Look, there's the top teams in each league, right?
How long do we turn our fucking head around there?
But like, what you will notice is it's the top 5 teams in the Premier League: so Chelsea, City, West Ham, Liverpool, and Arsenal. There's no Signy United in that graphic there.
It hurts me to see Arsenal.
All the shit you've been giving them since week 1.
I still think that we will finish above them by the end of the season. But you know,
what season? 2030?
No, I put my hands up. Yeah, I talk shit, but they have been doing very well. They're not great, but they've got results, and it's all that matters, isn't it?
I can see a little Kevin Keegan-esque monologue coming on here from Craig. I would love it if we finish above them.
That's desperate, isn't it? That's what can have to resort to. I would love it if we finish above Arsenal.
I know.
Craig, quick word on Liverpool. I mean, a couple of seasons ago, they was absolutely imperious. They would not have lost that game after they got back into it. I've got a dictionary down. But a couple of years ago, getting back into the game, they didn't give teams 2 chances. The season before, they was off the boil. Van Dijk was out. Now he's back. Does that game sort of show they are still a little bit fragile? They're not back to their best.
Yeah. Well, like Liverpool were so reliant on Van Dijk. He was a machine. Like I had him as one of the best players in the world, even though he was a defender. He was unbelievable.
Defenders can be good players, right?
No, I know, but they never get the credit they deserve. But like, it's going to take time for him to really get back from. He had a serious injury. Do you know what I mean? And with him not being 100%, as Shane said, their line is so high. You know, Robertson and Alexander Arnold, like they're attackers more than defenders. Do you know what I mean? So, and then you have Matip, who, you know, isn't a fucking speed merchant himself, like. So they are getting caught, and you know, as I said, football goes in cycles. They had their time, you know, and maybe they're on a slow decline now. They were unreal for a couple of years, unplayable, but they haven't really changed their starting 11 that much, and I don't know if they've really changed their style of play that much. So it's also a case of people getting used to Klopp and how Liverpool play, and you know, if you have a good, sensible manager with tactics and formations, they can get results. And that's, you know, Moyes is experienced. And, you know, yeah, West Ham are a shock, yeah, but they definitely deserve that one.
I think Power would be hoping that it's not a start of a new cycle, because he'll be waiting until 2051 for another league title.
Yeah.
Well, like Liverpool, just on that though, like Liverpool, like we both said, yeah, you can see their high defensive line. They are there to be beaten. And you've just touched on it. They haven't really changed their starting 11 much. I know I said it a few weeks ago, but the African Nations Cup is on this year. Like, if you take away Mo Salah's goal contributions since the start of the season, like, where does that put them?
Yeah.
You know, and if you've got him and Mane missing,
yeah,
you know, Firmino looks like he's out as well for a little while, isn't he? Like, yeah, he might be back by Christmas, but who's to say it's not a recurring injury, or, you know. And I think, yeah, they're in trouble.
Like, Jota is obviously a great player, you know, but he wasn't brought in to be their main boy. And then I know Origi scored a fucking great goal at the weekend, but he's not going to be consistent for you getting you know, 2-3 goals a game. And with that,
are they going to adjust their formation though, right? Because we've named 3 players there who can come in. Well, obviously Firmino's still there. He plays as the centre. He's the pivot for that front 3. Is Origi going to go on the right or the left, or are they going to put Firmino out there? I just don't think they have enough options to cope with the African Nations Cup. And I haven't looked at their fixtures, to be honest with you. But, you know, Liverpool are, 4th in the league now at the moment. Like, they've been lucky. You know, West Ham exposed them yesterday. There was a couple of games that I've seen, you know, where, you know, they've been conceding goals, or, you know, a couple of half chances have saved the day for them, you know. Even just touching on the result at the Bridge earlier, the 1-1 in the start of the season, like, before that sending off, we should have been 2 or 3-0 up. You know, so they are vulnerable, very vulnerable. Van Dijk doesn't look the same. So you see some of these big players, they never come back after an injury like that, you know?
Yeah.
Will he ever get back to that level? I just don't know.
And they used to have Gomez in beside him as well, and he can't even get a look in, like...
Yeah. They got your man Kanate, he's very good, but he hasn't exactly got a run of fucking games. You know? What's it? Well, we're fucked now. Throw him in quick.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work like that, you know?
And he's new to the league. Like, it can take people time, especially, you know, if you're going straight from the Bundesliga into, like, one of the best teams in the world. You know, where the starting 11...
Like Solskjaer giving Sancho time, you know?
Exactly, he's resting him.
Play right wing back from now on.
Hey, don't start him off again, all right?
Sorry, I just had to get that in. No, but you're dead right. I think it could be a tough January, early February for Liverpool. Depending, obviously, on how well these nations do in the Cup. They could be back in a couple of weeks. It could be, I think it's 6 weeks or something it could go on for, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I wonder, will they get anyone in the window?
Is that even enough time? Do you know what I mean?
Probably
I don't think
not,
that's...
But, you know,
and looking at how tight them fuckers are, you know, they're not going to go out and... Someone's going to know Liverpool need players. They've nobody. They want one of our players. I'm going to throw an extra 20 million on top of that. Like,
yeah.
So, I don't know.
From one informed team in London to another, Arsenal beat Watford 1-0. Unbeaten in 10 in all competitions. No party the weekend, but Maitland-Niles has come in and done really well. Little bit of controversy around the first goal.
Yeah.
Firstly, what is your view on the goal, Shane?
Oh, I was watching it, And as soon as you could see Danny Rose was putting that ball out to allow treatment, and then the ball wasn't given back to Watford, and you could see the players' arms in the air shouting at the ref, and I just thought, that's piss poor. And again, I thought to myself, they're going to fucking score here. That is usually what happens. And then, lo and behold, it was a great finish from Smith Rowe. He's really on form. He looks really good, really, really fucking good. But I understand why Ranieri was unhappy. If it happened to